Supporter Trad and Dixie says, I'll get to the point. In your experience, Grace, how influential or involved is the porn industry in the human trafficking business?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can speak to this as well. I would say, so there are some ways that pornography and trafficking are directly intertwined. It's not very pleasant, but traffickers will use porn as part of their grooming process for their victims. So they make them watch it so they know what people coming in will want them to do. Or buyers coming in will bring porn so that they can show the person what they want them to do. Of course, there are some people who are in pornography who would legally be considered a victim of sex trafficking. So that also means if you're watching it, you could be directly participating in that way. Yeah. And I think the more remote sort of cause, but in the end, it's pretty significant is, and you will speak about this much better than I, so feel free to take over. But addiction all works the same way, right? So it's not uncommon. This is not I'm not saying this is everybody, so please don't take that the wrong way. But that somebody who starts with a pornography addiction would then want to act those things out. So it can lead to becoming a buyer, for example. I think the whole, and if you're going sort of more global, the way that women are perceived or objectified or whatever you want to call it, especially the pressure that puts on these teenage kids. The way that they try to dress, or when they're among themselves and think no staff is listening, they might talk, or, it's just clear that they've been sold this lie that's where they think their value, is in being sexually attractive to people usually much older than themselves. So it's all sort of part of the same mess, not the same thing exactly, but I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
There's a few ways to come at it. I think that there's a straw man that anti-pornography people such as myself can sometimes put out there. I don't know how many people do this, but they can give the impression that if you look at pornography, you are then going to go out and sexually harm someone.
Yeah,
you're significantly more higher. And that's not the case, I don't think. That said, in order for someone to sexually abuse a woman, some part of him must first believe that she is not so much a person with her own interior life and desires and ends, but that she is an object for my selfish sexual satisfaction. And I don't think that there's a more convincing propaganda campaign producing that belief in people than pornography.
Yeah.
So I absolutely think the two are connected. I also think it's beyond dispute. We know for a fact that pornography that we might be watching is documented evidence of sexual trafficking. So there was an article that came out several years ago at CNN about a 54-year-old Japanese man who said he was conducting sleep studies and was looking for women between certain ages. Trigger warning here. These women he would meet at hotels and give them sedatives and alcohol, and then he would rape them. And he filmed the abuse and, to his own estimation, sold that footage upwards of $100,000 to different companies. The point is this: how would you know the difference? Much of the pornography out there today isn't shot with high resolution cameras and lights, and it's made to look as if it's filmed with an iPhone. How are you so sure that you're not masturbating to a modern day slave? And that's a pretty disgusting thing to think about. And it's a disgusting thing to think about because it's a disgusting thing to do. And that isn't meant to shame people, but it is meant to sort of wake them up and to have them and me and all of us ask ourselves the question, my God, what am I doing with this powerful gift of sexuality that you've given me? Some of these women that we're watching in pornography are dead. So you're masturbating to someone whose corpse is rotting in the ground. That's disgusting. So, and there's been instances on Pornhub and elsewhere where we have women being trafficked, and this seems to me, I would suspect that this is far more prominent than we even suspect, because if you are the kind of disgusting pile of crap human person, sorry, not your words, mine, who sells women or children, in a way, that's a good business strategy, because unlike drugs, the thing doesn't evaporate immediately upon selling.
Yeah, and it's much harder to catch. I mean, if you're caught with cocaine, I don't care if you're just handing it to your friend in a moment, like from somebody else. Like, it's illegal. You're part of the deal now.
Right.
But you have to actually see a crime to arrest somebody for it, and these aren't crimes that are seen.
That's right.
I mean, it's really hard.
If you're
to
traveling
prosecute.
with this person, you're not getting,
Yeah, and it's not illegal to be scantily clad for the weather, whatever it might be. Like, so there's no obvious crime.
So the point I'm just making is that this person is somewhat of a savvy businessman.
I am.
Now, why wouldn't you set up a camera to film the abuse in certain instances to then make money from it? That just seems like an obvious next step to grow your business, doesn't it?
If you're really set on something so perverse.
Yeah, well, you already are, right? That's the thing. We know that the perversion's there, so why wouldn't you? Now, there might be reasons, but I don't know how overwhelming they are. And so, like, if we discovered that a particular sneaker company produced its, like, 5% of its sneakers in sweatshops, and that became common knowledge, you'd be right to sort of stop purchasing that sneaker. Well, the amount of abuse that goes on in the porn industry, I think, is significantly higher and even more disturbing in certain instances. And so, even if you don't buy the Catholic Church's claim that pornography is intrinsically evil, that's a pretty good reason to stop consuming it. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below letting us know what you thought about the video.